tons of controversy. Now, I've already made one video about this, and I want to kind of elaborate on what I believe and what I think. So, first off, you're going to hear this out of my mouth. Honestly, I just saw a video by KVD, and I actually got to agree with the man on this.
What did he say?
Everybody calling that the new backpack is going to be a meta, we don't know if it's going to be a meta. We really fucking don't know right now if it's going to be a meta. So I agree with the fucking man.
What the hell?
And the problem that we have with not knowing if this is going to be a meta is we don't even know what attributes it has on it. We really don't even know how the devs plan to make the talent work, because here's the issue, and like I said in my video, if they mess this up, this could give us 1, 2, 3 different gear set bonuses for the backpacks. But at the same time, if they do it right, which is where I try to explain, but I guess I didn't elaborate enough, if they do it right, it'll only give you, if you have 3 pieces on, it'll give you that 4th piece of the backpack talent, which will allow you to get these other pieces. But because it says gear set and brand set, it could potentially give you an extra roll. Even, let's say you have foxes on with strikers, it could give you that 2nd piece for the foxes as well.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
So, okay, let's say that it gives us these extra bonuses, say, like for example, the foxes. Perfect example. Let's say it gives out that 2nd piece for having that, and we have strikers, so it gives us the backpack talent of the gear set. But what happens if I have an all yellow build and I have 1 piece of each thing except for the backpack? How do we know, because it's supposed to give you a backpack talent, how do we know what it's going to give for a backpack talent? That's the biggest question. We have no clue that this could be a meta because we don't know how it's going to work. We don't know what the attributes are on the backpack. So again, everything that we have right now is complete and utter speculation. We can't tell if that's going to be a meta backpack or not. Though a lot of people are setting up their builds and thinking of ways that it could be, there is no guarantee at this moment. So again, we have to take everything, like I said in one of my other videos, we got to take everything with a grain of salt. We don't know. That's probably another reason why it hasn't been released, because no one has clearly seen or stated what it's going to be like. So everything we have is speculation.
And now for something completely different.
Now, as for everybody right now who's a PvE player, if you notice, every single PvE bot,
What did he say?
that you see out here right now in all of their videos, they're all talking about how the raid exotics should not be out here in the DZ and in the light zone or dark zone loot pool. It should be raid exclusive. The problem that we had a while back, if anybody actually remembers, when the very first raid came out, we had everybody sitting there saying, why is it locked behind a raid? Y'all said, and they said in one of their state of games, that it was not going to be locked behind a raid, and then it was, and everybody was pissed off.
Son of a bitch!
Well, guess what, Buttercup? Now that it's not, you're the same guys who are over here screaming and crying and going, it needs to be locked behind a raid. Dude, I'm sorry, but that's not how this works. People sat here and complained about it for so long that they didn't want it locked behind a raid. The devs finally said, you know what? The game is possibly coming to an end, and some of these other content creators like Identity, he said it himself, and I agree with the man.
What did he say?
It's probably coming to an end, and because it's coming to an end, they're giving this stuff out for the other players. But guess what? There's still an exotic that you have to get from a raid. The pistol.
No.
So now someone else commented and said, hey, by the way, have you noticed that everybody in PvE right now is crying because they have to go to PvP to get these if they want? Because one reason is They don't have the builds. They're used to having the builds for raids, for PvE and stuff. They don't have any PvP builds. Damn! That is one reason why my video, my Codex video, all of those builds you can take from one to the other. You can take it to PvP, you can take it to PvE, you can take it to raid. They will work in all three situations. That is why I made those builds the way I did. Is so that way any player who sees those builds, they know they can take it from here to there and have a good time either way. At the same time, some of those builds, even in PvP, are situational. Same within PvE. When you're in a raid, you may have to swap from this build to that build because this one here offers this in this section. And players have to adapt. Some of these players out here just don't know how to adapt in those types of situations, and it's showing right now. This is where you're able to see if your content creator actually can show whether or not he can adapt to the situation or not. And it's showing all over YouTube. You don't believe me? Go take a look and think about it twice. Look at it now. You'll start to realize this. Now, with all that being said, I have a few other ideas that I've held in the chamber, especially after seeing some of these TU17 or PTS or whatever you want to call it type videos. And I want to ask my community on two of them that I have as an idea. One is, we see that the devs can actually keep the jammer and allow no skills to get jammed because of your skill tier. Honest to God, it's a give or take. You either add in skill tier to your build to get a bonus of where your skill cannot get jammed by some dude who's just level 0 tier. And that's fair. It is honest to God fair. PvP community, you're going to hate on me for saying that, but it's fair. Now, at the same time, other skills like EMP stickies, hives, like roly-poly balls, turrets, decoys, all that kind of stuff should also have the same effect. Not just jammers. It should be all the way across the board if you're going to do it right, devs. Not just say, hey, we're just going to do this for jammers. We need to do it for everything. Any skill that has a certain skill tier cannot be destroyed or harmed or dismantled or, you know, all that kind of stuff if it's a certain skill tier versus a certain skill tier of a player. If you want to do this right, you need to do it that way. That's number one. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about that, honestly, because that's my personal opinion about it. And I'm not going to sit here and go to the devs about this, even if they view this video. I'd rather hear your guys' comments and see what you guys think about that. And if the devs happen to see that, they can see these kinds of comments on that and weigh in your opinions to that. Number two, because we see spotter allows for your skill and your weapon to gain 15% damage, each one of those. Technically, around most damage type builds and everything, you have around, say, 30%, right? On an average, about 25. If we take vigilance, we could say 30 if I put on memento, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, that'd be the max. What about a perfect or just a regular companion that offers not just a player who's nearby another player or their skill to gain 15, but also if it's their skill to gain an extra 15 as well. So now the skill and the player both could be side by side and they both get 15, but if they separate, they lose the companion and boom, they don't gain it. So it's kind of a give or take. You got to stay next to your skill. If you're not, then you lose it. It's a give or take. It's a constant fluctuation. So it's never guaranteed, but both can have damage now. What do you guys think about that? Adding 15% skill damage to that? Because again, if the player's not by the skill or not by another player, it's not going to give them anything. So if they are, then hey, they get a little bit extra, just 15 on the skill, which again, if it's a drone, 15 on that's barely going to be anything. I mean, we're talking what, maybe an extra 10,000 per bullet on that, and that's only in the shooting range. If you take that to the dark zone, that's at 33%. That's barely anything. So people who are going to be screaming about that in PvP, you guys got to realize you're only talking like barely 3,000 on a drone, barely anything. So it's not even going to be noticeable in the dark zone, but it could be just that tiny little bit extra that helps that player. So again, what do you guys think about that? Seriously, leave a comment below on option 2. Let me know. And I got some other things I might be brainstorming, and I'll bring it to y'all as soon as I can.